Hey, folks, and welcome into the Horns 24/7 game preview. Alongside Chip Brown, I'm Tommy Yarsh. Chip, the Red River Shootout, 119th edition coming your way this Saturday, 11 a.m. kickoff Central Time on ABC. Let's go ahead and take a look at some numbers for this game. As I mentioned, the 119th meeting between Texas and Oklahoma. The Longhorns lead the all-time series 63-50 with 5 ties. First time since 2011 that both teams are coming into this game undefeated. Texas has not won back to back games over Oklahoma since 2008, 2009, and Oklahoma has won 7 out of the last 10 meetings against the Longhorns. Chip, I think the biggest factor coming into this game, you consider the Longhorns 49-0 victory last year over the Sooners. We mentioned both of these teams coming in undefeated for the first time since 2011. Dillon Gabriel is the difference maker for the Sooners. He was unable to play for Oklahoma last year, and that certainly was a massive reason why the Sooner offense struggled. What do you make of Oklahoma's quarterback that Texas has yet to see?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is on fire. I mean, he's having a great year, but who has Oklahoma played? SMU, Cincinnati. So his numbers look great, 75% completion rate and 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know, Tommy, I was looking at his career at Central Florida from 2019 to 21 and last year at OU for like the biggest high profile game he's played in his career. And K-State last year in Norman, he played really well. He threw for 3 touchdowns, no picks. They lost that game. The defense couldn't stop anyone. But then in a home loss to Baylor, Dillon Gabriel threw 3 interceptions. So how does he handle the sensory overload atmosphere of the Red River Shootout, where because the Cotton Bowl's divided at the 50, half burnt orange, half crimson, both sides screaming their brains out, it's it either lifts you up or it throws you off. And we don't know about Dillon Gabriel. We know that he can operate Jeff Lebby's quick tempo, uh, short passing game. He's going to get the ball out quick to get ahead of Texas's pass rush, and that up-tempo offense can cause problems. So he's going to have to carry it, though. I mean, Oklahoma's not running the ball well enough this season. At least they haven't up to this point. Barely averaging 4 yards a carry. They're not running the ball well enough to beat Texas. Dillon Gabriel's going to have to beat Texas. That seems like a lot. Now, their receivers, Andrell Anthony, the redshirt freshman, 6'4", Nick Anderson, who has 5 touchdown catches. They've been the most impressive, pleasant surprise for the OU offense this year. Some would argue Texas's secondary, the safety position, which has been beaten a few times deep this year, could be a problem. Texas might not have Ryan Watts. I still just think T'Vondre Sweat and Byron Murphy and the guys up front are going to make life uncomfortable for Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, glad you mentioned Devondre Sweat and the Texas defense up front. This is a defense that is number 17 amongst FBS teams in total defense. The Sooners have not faced anybody that high yet this season. You talked about the running game for Oklahoma. Let's flip that to Texas. You mentioned the Sooners struggling a little bit to run the ball. As of late, the Longhorns have been the exact opposite. Jonathan Brooks has gone for 3 straight 100-yard games. He had 200 against Kansas last week. Can Jonathan Brooks keep this going? Is this a game where you can kind of lean on him, like Texas leaned on Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson last year to will them to a victory, to win them a game? Or do you think this stays more balanced or Steve Sarkisian maybe favors the air a little bit more?
Well, Jonathan Brooks he's either gotten it done early or he's gotten it done late. And last week he got it done for 4 quarters. But he gets it done. I mean, my goodness, he's gone from not starting for his own football team to becoming the nation's number 3 rusher after carrying it 59 times for 487 yards the last 3 games. The guy is in sync with his offensive line. They're running inside zone, they're running outside zone, they're running gap, and he's excelling at all of it. And he can catch the football. If he has another big day Saturday, Oklahoma has no chance in this game because Texas will control the clock and keep Dillon Gabriel off the field. If Texas turns Dillon Gabriel over and Jonathan Brooks can run the ball, this could be another blowout. But OU's defense, Brent Venables, the guy's got tons of experience. He's been in championship games. His defense is playing better, obviously much better. Danny Stutzman playing at an All-American level at linebacker, guys averaging almost 10 tackles per game. And so this is the chess match. And I just think that this Texas offensive line, I'll be surprised if they don't come out and be the more physical group. You've got to win the line of scrimmage in this game because in that atmosphere, if you're not the more physical team, you can lose. Texas has been the more physical team in every game they've played when it matters most, down the stretch, in the fourth quarter. And I'll give Texas the benefit of the doubt. But I do think Brent Venables is going to lay back. He'll mix it up, but I do think he'll rush 3 and drop 8 to try to force Texas to nickel and dime their way between the 20s and not give up that big over-the-top touchdown that can just really get the momentum going and spark Texas. Brent Venables wants to fight Texas in the red zone because Texas's offense has not been good in the red zone. They're only converting 50% of their trips into touchdowns. And last week they had 2 first and goals from the 8 that resulted in field goals. So it's going to be a great chess match between Steve Sarkisian, one of the best offensive play callers, and Brent Venables, one of the best defensive play callers. And Jonathan Brooks is going to be right in the middle of all of it.
We talked a little bit earlier about some areas of concern for this Texas team. You mentioned the back end on defense. Some safeties have been beat this year. We saw it last week against Kansas when Keaton Crawford got beat for Kansas' second touchdown. Against Alabama, Jaron Thompson got beat on a deep route. Another area of concern that wasn't really addressed too much last Saturday in Kansas game, thought it was a step up, but the week prior against Baylor, Texas's special teams was uncharacteristically bad. 2 muff punts and just all around not a really great performance on that side. Is this a game where you want to see, or we will see, maybe some stronger special teams performance? And could this be an area of the game where Texas pulls away and it helps them win a ball game?
Man, big plays on special teams in this game have a profound effect. You mentioned Texas hasn't beaten OU in consecutive years since 08, 09. 08, Texas fell behind twice by 11. Jordan Shipley with a 96-yard kick return to get Texas back into the game. It kind of spurred the Longhorns to that incredible 45-35 victory. This is an area for Texas that has always been solid under Jeff Banks, and suddenly you're kind of wondering what's going on. Now, I think the return game should be fine. The 2 muffs, 3 muffs, actually. There was a muffed kick that Texas recovered, but there were 2 muffed punts against Baylor that they didn't recover. The defense bailed them out because they got the ball. Baylor got the ball at the Texas 20 twice and only came away with 3 points. But Bert Auburn, Texas's field goal kicker, has missed 3 of his last 6. And there were questions this week to Steve Sarkisian about if he's thinking about maybe utilizing backup kicker Will Stone. Sarkisian said no. He feels like Bert Auburn is going to be fine. But look, that atmosphere, and if Brent Venables is successful at slowing down the Texas offense and this does turn into a field goal game, that's nervous times for the Texas Longhorns. People think back to 2018 when Cameron Dicker booted the 40-yarder with 9 seconds left to win the game. I don't know how many Texas fans right now feel confident about sending Bert Auburn out for a 40-yard field goal to win the game. Even though he did, kick some big kicks last year, the 49-yarder against Alabama to take the lead with 1:29 left before Alabama scored their own field goal to win it, and the 48-yarder at Texas Tech to force overtime. If this is a field goal game, it's going to be nervous times for the Texas Longhorns.
We will see if it comes down to a field goal game in Bird Auburn. Now it's time for, if you do think it'll be a field goal game, for you to tell us all. It's game predictions. Chip, you go ahead and go first.
Well, Texas has been, they've had games where they've had to fight and scrap and claw. Even against Kansas, it was only 13-7 at halftime, and then they broke it open. Wyoming, it's 10-10 in the fourth quarter. Texas breaks it open. Like I said, if they turn the ball, if they turn Dillon Gabriel over and Texas can run the football, this will be a blowout. And OU will be answering questions about, similar to what Texas was answering in the early 2000s when they rolled into the Cotton Bowl with a really good defense and got beat 63-14. I think Brent Venables and Dillon Gabriel, I think they're going to muck this game up. I think it is going to be close for 3 quarters, but I think Texas pulls this one out 24-17. Tommy, how about you?
All right, so we were pretty close. I also think this is going to be a close one, but the deciding factor for me was Steve Sarkisian's play calling in this game. The last 2 seasons, he's had over 500 yards of total offense. So I think it's going to be hard for an Oklahoma defense a year off of giving up 49 points to stop Texas significantly enough for them to win this game. Now, again, I do think this will be close because this Oklahoma team is night and day from what we saw last year, but both of these defenses are really good. It's going to be a slugfest on that side of the ball. So I think points are going to be a little bit more difficult to come by, but both offenses have been able to show that they can get that big play and put points on the board in a hurry. So I'm going to go Texas 31, Oklahoma 24. Longhorns pull out back-to-back victories for the first time since 08-09. We will find out whether or not we are right this Saturday at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff on ABC. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Horns 24/7 game preview. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Plus, turn on video notifications so you're the first to know when new content heads your way. For Chip Brown and the rest of the crew, I'm Tommy Yarsh. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.